Have you ever felt like you're on the verge of something extraordinary, but confusion and challenges seem to block the way? What if I told you that every struggle you're facing is actually a sign that God is working behind the scenes, preparing something huge? God's silence is never by accident. Many times He takes us down unexpected paths to surprise us with His greatest blessings. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. This helps us reach more people who might need a touch of the divine in their lives. If you've been feeling stuck, lost, or even hopeless, here's the truth. God's purpose for your life might be just around the corner, ready to reveal itself in ways you never imagined. Pay close attention to the 7 signs we're about to share. They might be exactly what you've been searching for and could change your future forever. There's something curious about pressure. The harder it presses down on you, the closer you are to a breakthrough from God. Many people go through these tough moments and ask, "Why is this happening to me?" But the truth is that even in those moments, God is shaping your character and strengthening your faith. Think about 2 Corinthians 4:17, where Paul reminds us that our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory. When life feels heavy, it's often a sign that something greater is on the way. That's the moment to pause and reflect. How can this pressure be an opportunity for spiritual growth? Life's hardships often pave the way for breakthroughs. Picture an athlete training hard for a competition. They experience pain, exhaustion, and pressure, but they know these moments are necessary to win. In the same way, when believers face trials, they're being prepared for the next phase of their spiritual journey. One practical way to navigate these seasons is to develop an attitude of gratitude. It might seem counterintuitive to be thankful during tough times, but that's where real transformation begins. Instead of complaining, you can pray, just as Jesus did in the Garden of Gethsemane, asking for the strength to endure what's ahead. A simple but powerful exercise is to list 5 things you're grateful for. This small act can shift your entire perspective. And never forget, tough seasons are temporary. Psalm 30 verse 5 tells us that weeping may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. God never abandons us in times of trouble. In fact, He's right there with us, often waiting for the perfect moment to intervene. When relief finally arrives, we can look back and see how God was guiding us all along, preparing us for what's next. As we begin to recognize the signs of these trials, it's important to understand that new opportunities often follow right behind them. God never leaves us in the wilderness without a purpose. He leads us toward new doors and paths. When life feels stuck, God often surprises us by opening doors we never even saw coming. Psalm 32 verse 8 offers this promise: "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you and watch over you." These opportunities might show up in unexpected ways, but that's exactly how God works, pushing us beyond our limits and expectations. Imagine life as a long hallway with many doors. Sometimes it feels like every single one is shut. Maybe that's where you find yourself now. What do you do when it seems like no opportunities are appearing? The key is to trust that God is working behind the scenes. Take the example of someone losing their job. It might feel like a disaster at first, but over time new doors open, doors that would have stayed shut if the change hadn't happened. However, waiting for opportunities isn't passive. Psalm 90:17 encourages us to ask God to establish the work of our hands. This means that while we wait, we also need to act, exploring new areas, learning new skills, and growing personally. That way, when God opens the door, we're ready to walk through it with confidence. Sometimes, new opportunities come disguised as problems. You might feel overwhelmed by a new responsibility that seems too big, but it could be the key to your next level. In those moments, prayer and discernment are essential. As Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us, God's plans are to prosper us, not to harm us. Often, we feel an inner restlessness, as if something inside us is urging us toward more. That can be God planting the desire for growth in our hearts, calling us to a new season. Philippians 1:6 reminds us that God will complete the good work He began in us, and that restlessness may be His way of pushing us to the next step. Imagine someone working comfortably in the same job for years, but now they feel an unexplainable emptiness. Instead of ignoring that feeling, it's time to ask God, "What are you trying to show me?" This discomfort can be the beginning of a shift, leading to greater opportunities. It's like a farmer realizing that it's time to expand their fields after harvesting a crop. They know it's time for more. In these moments of restlessness, it's crucial to feed your spirit through prayer and reading the Word. When we feel unsettled, the natural instinct is to seek answers from external sources, but true clarity comes from drawing closer to God. This may be the perfect time to fast and pray, asking for wisdom, just as James 1:5 encourages us to do. God often communicates through dreams and visions during times of transition. Joel 2:28 says that in the last days He will pour out His Spirit, and people will have dreams and visions. These experiences can serve as a roadmap, guiding us toward the next steps. When they align with the Word of God and are confirmed through prayer, they become powerful indicators of His will. We also need to pay attention to confirmations from those around us. Sometimes God uses people to speak directly into our situation without us even mentioning it. Proverbs 11:14 reminds us that there is wisdom in the counsel of many. When we repeatedly hear the same message from trusted people of faith, it's often God confirming a path or decision. And as we act on these confirmations, we may feel a stronger desire to seek God through prayer and fasting. Jesus taught in Mark 9:29 that certain breakthroughs only come through prayer and fasting. This deeper pursuit of God prepares us spiritually for what's to come and aligns us with His will. Finally, we come to a crucial point, letting go of the past. Isaiah 43:18-19 tells us to forget the former things because God is doing something new. This isn't just about external changes, but about inner transformation. Letting go may be hard at first, but it's necessary to make room for the new things God is preparing. Sometimes the things we once found meaningful no longer satisfy us, and that's okay. It's a sign that God is shifting us towards something greater. Think of it like pruning a tree. It's painful, but it allows new growth to flourish. Now that you've recognized the signs of God's movement in your life, what will you do with this knowledge? Are you ready to embrace the new things God has in store? Remember, transformation begins with action. Identify the signs in your own life and ask yourself, am I ready for what God is doing? If this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and continue learning how to walk in God's purpose for your life. The best is yet to come.